My dad has a friend who, every month, when he receives his salary, goes to the bank, withdraws all his money in cash, and brings it home with him. In his opinion, he has no trust in anything that he can see. He used to do this with regular money, the kind you can see and withdraw with ATM or bank anytime. But if someone suggested paying him in Bitcoin, he would probably freak out. Here, we want to see which one is more useful for us, Bitcoin or cash. Which one is more secure? Which one is more profitable? Who benefits from each of them? And in the end, which one is my choice? Right from the start, let me mention that I'm not an expert in finance and cryptocurrencies. However, a few days ago, I realized due to the approval of an ETF for Bitcoin, the significant digital currency is back into the spotlight. That's why I thought it would be interesting to share my curiosity and research with you here so that if you have any confusion on this matter, your concern can be addressed. Of course, I'll include the sources I read in the description so that if you want to learn more, you can fully explore them. When something new comes out, there's a bunch of news about it. As it progresses, it becomes a trend, and each day's news replaces the old one with new updates. Bitcoin is the same. Now, people are more focused on what's happening with Bitcoin daily. Is it doing better or worse than other cryptocurrencies? What's the deal with its ETF, and how much is it expected to be worth next year? Now, they assume you know what Bitcoin is, and discussion focus more on those topics I mentioned earlier. First, I'll give a very brief and simple explanation about what Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is a type of digital currency that allows you to buy, sell, and perform any transaction just like traditional money. However, it doesn't have a physical presence, and you can't hold it in your hand like cash. Bitcoin has some advantage compared to cash, and of course, there are also drawbacks to consider. If you look back in history, you'll notice that valuable objects were used for transaction and trade. Things like natural shells, copper, meteorites, gold, silver, and even relatively recently, live animals like cows were used as a form of currencies. Yes, cows. But then, it was simpler to use one thing for transactions, and that's when coins and paper money started. About 40,000 years ago, we shifted from bartering goods to trading goods with coin and cash. At first, they had to receive the money in person for the goods they provided. Basically, it was similar to my dad's friend in the first part of this video. Either they sent someone or did it themselves to collect a bag of money from the buyer. Or, if they got a coin, they bought it to check it wasn't fake. But from a certain point, when bank came into the play, we no longer physically saw our money. All our wealth and assets gathered on a piece of paper that we could use for transactions. So from here on, using Bitcoin and other digital money got easier. Now, people might be ready to use Bitcoin instead of cash. Bitcoin is a modern and new type of money, and it has many advantages to consider. Number one, now Bitcoin is something valuable. Do you know why? Because it's handy as money or even like a special coin. Bitcoin has all the important money features. It lasts, you can carry it, exchange it, divide it, it's rare, recognizable, and interchangeable. Now, by seeing more and more people, businesses, and startups using Bitcoin, you can tell it's become really valuable. But you might be thinking, can Bitcoin ever lose its value? Well, yes, nothing is impossible. History is full of currency that fail and are no longer in use. Of course, most currency failure happen due to their extreme inflation, which is almost impossible for Bitcoin. But then again, Bitcoin has been here for years, and it's been trustworthy and shown it can grow. Number two, the price of Bitcoin is always changing, and well, that's good news for those who make money from buying and selling. Because if they can figure out when the price is going up or down, they can make good profits. Do you even know how the price of Bitcoin is determined? The price of Bitcoin is determined by supply and demand. When the demand for Bitcoin increases, the price goes up, and when the demand decreases, the price goes down. And since the total amount of Bitcoin is limited, its price is always fluctuating. Number 3, Bitcoin has high security. The technology behind Bitcoin, its protocol, and encryption have a strong security track record, and it has never been hacked. Of course, keep in mind that not only Bitcoin, but also most systems relying on encryption include those considered part of traditional banking and are vulnerable to quantum computing threats. However, since quantum computing system doesn't exist yet, we don't need to worry about this issue right now. But if this system come into existence, the rules of this currency can be updated for new type of algorithm. Number 4, paying and buying with Bitcoin is very simple, even easier than using a credit card or cash. Just enter the recipient address, the amount, and press send. It's that easy, whether on your phone or smartphone. You can even scan a QR code instead of entering the recipient address. If you are close to each other, you can use NFC technology by touching the two phones for the transfer. Number 5, cash is a type of money that's controlled by the government that make it. Some fund or some group always control the transaction. Bitcoin is designed to allow transactions without the need for central authorities. You can perform transactions using only the internet and a digital wallet. If you are in a sanctioned country and international banks do not have account in your country, you may not be able to access global services. In this case, you may not be able to use international banking services or have access to cash. But with Bitcoin, you can make secure purchases within your own country and even internationally without the need for the traditional bank. This has allowed people in sanctioned countries to connect with employers from other countries, work remotely, and receive their income in Bitcoin. Number 6, if you're in the US and plan to visit Japan, you have to change your dollars to yen and you might have to pay fees for the conversion. But if you keep your money in Bitcoin, you can sell it on digital currency exchanges and convert it into your desired currency in cash. Number 7, for transferring Bitcoin, the transaction fee is fixed and known. The fee for sending Bitcoin is fixed, so it doesn't matter if you're sending 1 Bitcoin or 100,000 Bitcoins. The cost of services based on Bitcoin is much lower than the expense associated with PayPal and credit cards in cash. Number 8, you can withdraw cash from specific locations like ATMs. However, sometimes, especially during holiday and weekend, bank may be closed and there might be withdrawal limits. In those cases, you might not have access to all of your money, but Bitcoin is always available. You can transfer all your Bitcoin whenever you want, late at night, during weekend and holidays. Number 9, you can keep your money in a bank or a financial institution. Even though you can keep it in cash, there's a risk of it being stolen or even counterfeited. But cryptocurrency cannot be counterfeited. If someone doesn't have your wallet address, they can't steal it from you. Number 10, taxes are an interesting topic for many businesses. Earning money with Bitcoin is often not tracked, so it's not taxed in many places. However, some countries are attempting to consider Bitcoin income for taxation, but it's not implemented in many places yet. So with all this good thing about Bitcoin, could it become the main way everyone buy and sell stuff in a few years? But wait, there's more to the story. Despite its advantage, Bitcoin also has some downsides. Number 1, the $1 you have in your pocket today will still be the same $1 tomorrow. However, the value of Bitcoin is highly volatile and can change from day to day or even minute to minute. Therefore, people's opinion and policies can influence Bitcoin, causing its value to rise or fall. This can create a sense of distrust in terms of losing money. Number 2, if you have your money in cash or in an account, and you mistakenly transfer it to the wrong account, you can still get it back. It means you can somehow have access to the recipient's money. If you send Bitcoin to the wrong address, there's no way to get it back because you can't know who received it. Number 3, if you store Bitcoin in your digital wallet, there's a risk of getting hacked or you might even forget the password. Some people prefer physical wallet for better security, but if the physical wallet is damaged or infected with the virus, your access may be lost and your information could be gone in a matter of minutes. Number 4, since the time when cash existed between people and government, everything from the serial number on the bill to any concept you can think of, has had a specific set of law regulation governing it. However, since the world of Bitcoin and digital currencies is evolving and it might even change over time, there is no specific sets of law established for it. Number 5. Using Bitcoin can be considered illegal in some countries depending on their law and regulation. For instance, in some jurisdictions like Argentina and Russia, there are severe restrictions or prohibition on foreign currencies. Additionally, countries such as Thailand may restrict certain entities like Bitcoin exchanges. If you are in a sanctioned country and exchanges refuse to serve citizens of your country, you may lose access to your Bitcoins. Exactly, Bitcoin comes with its advantage, but its drawback cannot be ignored. Now we say which one, Bitcoin or cash. However, interestingly, in my research, I found another thing called Bitcoin Cash. At first, I thought it's some paper-similar cash that you can use to buy and sell Bitcoin as a real currency. Later, I realized now, Bitcoin Cash is something else. In fact, it's a different type of cryptocurrency with some difference from Bitcoin. Bitcoin Cash is a digital currency that is built on the same blockchain as Bitcoin. The main difference between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash lies in the size of their blocks. Bitcoin Cash can have faster and cheaper transactions. For instance, the average transaction fee for Bitcoin is around $59, while a Bitcoin Cash transaction costs less than 1 penny. However, due to the higher speed, the security of Bitcoin Cash has been somewhat compromised. I mentioned these details so that you, like me, can be familiar with them. However, overall, they are not directly related to our main topic. Well, now that we know the basics of Bitcoin and Cash, let's summarize them with a headline-style overview. Bitcoin is a valuable currency and its value increased due to its limited supply. Bitcoin is a secure currency that has never been hacked, and the likelihood of it being hacked in the future is close to zero. Buying and selling Bitcoin is easy, and it doesn't matter which country you're in or what your country's local currency is. No institution monitors Bitcoin, which opens up possibility for individuals in sanctioned country to engage in cross-border transaction and earn money without being subjected to oversight. The transaction fee for transferring Bitcoin is low and it's not dependent on the transaction's amount. It doesn't matter if it's holiday or not. You can buy and sell Bitcoin 24/7 at any hour of the day. There is no possibility of forging or stealing Bitcoin, and your money always remains secure. Using Bitcoin for activities is usually not taxed in many countries, but it's uncertain how long this will stay the same and may change in the future. But on the other hand, because Bitcoin's value is always changing, there is a chance you might see a significant decrease in your investment one day. Mistakes in Bitcoin transactions are common, and if they happen, it's nearly impossible to correct them. While Bitcoin itself is secure, there is a possibility that your digital wallet could be hacked or your physical wallet could be damaged, leading to the loss of your funds. There's no specific laws for Bitcoin yet, but cash has strong regulation as it has been around for a long time. Lastly, in some countries, the use of Bitcoin is illegal and it's uncertain. Perhaps in your country you live in, it could become illegal one day. Well, now if you watched our first video, why which one, you surely know not to expect a single definitive answer at the end of our video. But of course, I don't want you to leave the video empty-handed. In today's world, having money in hand sets apart the rich from the poor, developed nation from developing one, and the global north from the global south. And this money doesn't differ whether it's cash or Bitcoin. I answer based on two groups of people. If you're someone who loves the modern vibe, enjoying the thrill of change, and has a knack for investments, then Bitcoin is your go-to, especially if you keep an eye on it. But if you're more of a traditional soul, prefer a chill and risk-free lifestyle, find number a bit of overwhelming, and the tech world feels like an alien land to you, then Bitcoin might not be your cup of tea, at least for now. Well, which category do I fall into? Right now, with this above information, I realize that I can't take that much risk and turn all of my money into digital currency. That's why I prefer to keep it a portion of it, not in cash, but in the international currency in the bank for now. But if we don't keep up with the changing world, we might end up like my dad's friend. After a few years, we open our eyes and see that numerous new financial technology have emerged. Since we are unfamiliar with them, we cannot trust them, and we are forced to keep our money in cash. That's when our children and their friends might laugh at us. Now tell me, which one do you prefer? Tell me in the comments.